Thank you, thank you. I phoned Amy this morning and I said that I'd been scheduled to speak for 1 minute and I very much missed not having been able to get that minute because I just wanted to thank everyone. I want to thank Amy for all her wonderful support, Kwasar, Tata, and the whole team working for this festival. I also wanted to thank the 3 actors who read my poems so beautifully. And before I just switch off, I just want to give you a little story. I don't know if it's true, but I think I read somewhere that Charles Darwin was asked that if you had your life to live over again, what would you do that you did not do all these years? And I believe he said, I would read 1 poem every day. And one can well believe the story because when Darwin went on his voyage, he had 2 books with him. He had the Bible and he had Milton's Paradise Lost. So it's very, very likely that he would really have spent his new life reading 1 poem every day, which is what I try to do, and sometimes even 2. Thank you.
As with all things unscheduled and unexpected that have been happening this evening, and I refer to that incredible rock concert earlier. Before I get to reading the citation, the festival has made a short little film as a kind of present to Mahesh Dada. So can we run the film, please?
Mahesh Elkunchwar's Raktapushp and Pratibimb, 2 one-act plays, were translated by Seagull. I read the plays and I said, wow, I want to write like that.
Mahesh Da and I actually have a very interesting relationship.
I first met him when he had come to Lalit Kala Kendra, Pune University, and he was taking a workshop.
So, of course, my first encounter with Mahesh Da was reading his plays.
I think it was in the 90s when I first met Mahesh Elkunchwar.
The first thing he said to me in the workshop was, you know, you're from Bombay, I'm not going to be very fond of you. But by the end of the workshop, in fact, we had become really great friends.
In-person encounter happened when I believe I received his email. And that was really encouraging for me because I had just started out.
My mother used to say when he came out to our home, he was staying in Pune. My mother said that ज्ञानी माणूस घरी येऊन आल्यासारखं वाटतं. So learned man, a wise man has come to our place. So that is the way he is.
So he is one of those playwrights about whom you have heard as you grew up, even if you're not from a theatre background.
His contribution to Indian theatre by large and to world theatre, because I think it's immense. I think, I could call his dramas Chekhovian. I mean, if you look at something like the old stone mansion, Vada Chire Bandi, it's got all the classic elements and it's got this amazing psychological realism to it.
We have 3 stalwarts, Ayekar, Elkunchwar and Tendulkar, and we say it in one breath in Marathi theatre tradition.
Since then, he has grown to be one of the biggest influences on my life, I would say.
Being a vulnerable person, he doesn't easily let you close. So that is his protective shield, but behind that, he's a very gentle soul, and he would laugh if he hears this, that I'm calling him a gentle soul. He'll say, no, I'm very tough and stuff like that.
कॉंग्रॅच्युलेशन्स महेशदा, तुम्हाला लाईफटाईम अचीवमेंट अवॉर्ड मिळतंय.
तुम्हाला टाटा लिटरेचर लाईव्ह 2022चा लाईफ टाईम अचीवमेंट अवॉर्ड मिळतोय हे ऐकून खूप आनंद झाला.
Congratulations on achieving the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2022. Don't forget this, Mahesh is following you.
हॅलो महेशदा, कॉंग्रॅच्युलेशन्स ऑन युअर लाईफ टाईम अचीवमेंट अवॉर्ड. पार्टी कधी करायची हो? चला.
For someone so deeply tied to his roots that he has never lived away from Vidarbha, the heartland of his upbringing, Mahesh Elkunchwar's oeuvre as a dramatist extraordinaire reflects a remarkably progressive worldview which is far from insular. Growing up in a world of letters, in a childhood filled with imaginative solitude, Elkunchwar burst into the world of performing arts at the heels of pioneers and indeed contemporaries like Vijay Tendulkar, Badal Sarkar and Girish Karnad, and took his place by their side. As an emergent playwright with a distinctive voice, his plays in a prolific early spell were marked with youthful liberality. They included the seminal Holi, a path-breaking text that has deservedly endured through time. Then, after some years, came the masterly Vada Chire Bandi, a magnum opus set in the feudal moorings of Vidarbha, and ultimately part of a trilogy examining aspects of patriarchy that enjoys a startlingly contemporary resonance even in today's milieu. A spate of later plays, including the ruminative Pratibim and Atmakatha, led to the unexpected but almost organic shifting of gears into the world of reflective essays and narratives in which he delved, with refreshing candor into the many losses and setbacks of life. Collections such as Mon Rag and Triband that disarm the literary world are filled with solemn quietude and illuminated gravitas reminiscent of the writer himself. Elkunchwar's plays, sharply insightful and infused with humanity, represent compelling microcosms that mirror distinctive Indian conditions, caught up in the swirl of transformative societal changes that have come full circle, uncannily observed by an otherwise intensely private writer. For a lifetime spent in the service of letters, devoted to an idiom that was to become his métier, for releasing works into the cultural consciousness at large that live on not just as literary artifacts but as live spectacles, for his unerring eye for empathetic satire that complements the breathtakingly evoked interior worlds of his well-realized characters, Tata Literature Live, the Mumbai LitFest, does honor to itself by presenting the Lifetime Achievement Award to Mahesh Elkunchwar. May I please ask co-director Amy Fernandez and Grand Custodian of Tata Sons, Mr. Harish Bhatt, to please join us on stage.
Good evening, everybody. All my friends, colleagues, the entire crew of this festival, they have been with me for the last 3 days and they have made me feel like a visiting royalty, you know. Writers generally are not treated like this in this country. So I was a bit embarrassed. And I came here in my total humility and I heard Pasar saying all those wonderful things. More could have done. And I always carry my portable pedestal with me in case people forget to say a few good things about me. Today it is not necessary. I didn't know I have done so much in theater, because for me theater was never the top priority. Writing also was not the top priority. Living was the top priority. That's why I never left Nagpur. And what is important in life is how intensely you live, you know, whether you are in Mumbai or in Nagpur or in a small village. I'm a villager, basically. I come from a very small village and came to Nagpur for education because we had lost our landed properties after the Land Ceiling Act came, and my father kicked us out and told us that we have to be on our feet. And we reluctantly came to Nagpur. And I realized that even if you live a very simple life, if you live with total attention and intensely, it enlarges your experience to a great degree, you know, rather than rushing around here and there. I can't imagine myself in Mumbai living in some Bhai Khurd or Gosi Khurd kind of a thing and rushing to Churchgate every day. When do I leave? So I didn't come here. But theater happened and I enjoyed doing it. I wrote essays also. And living life for the top priorities, you know, it's like a child playing in the streets and it becomes very dark and the child refuses to go home. And he calls his friends in the darkness, nobody sees each other, but he's still playing, and then somebody drags him into the house and makes him do homework. It is like this with me. When it is really, really necessary and I think there is nothing else to do, I write, because there are very long intervals in my writings. One never knows when the next writing will come. I wrote Vada Chiribandi after a gap of 8 years, and people thought I was dead. Today, I was really touched and moved. In fact, when Ushaji sang, I said, this should have been the finale. You know, after singing, Mahesh Elkunchwar opening his mouth is a sacrilege. But let me do it now. I'll take the liberty to do so. I was really touched and moved when Kasar is like my younger brother, you know. And when he wrote me a very charming letter telling me that Tata Theatre Fest Live wanted to honor me, I was really, it's not easy for anybody to move me, you know, but I was. I said, of course I'm coming. And I did. And it's really a great honor. It's really a great pleasure also to be here with you. And particularly in the current climate, when actors are a very suspicious species, when they are an unavoidable inconvenience, you know, if not exactly inevitable evils, it is very heartening to know that there are people who care, that there are people who respect you, there are people who care, admire your writing, and unafraidly invite you and felicitate you. It is an extremely gratifying moment for me, and I do not know how to thank you. In fact, the most interesting part of the fest is over, but all of you have you have come here and you are attending this lecture. I think thank you very much. Another thing I wanted to say was people often talk in a peculiar language. This particular artist has contributed so much to art, etc., etc. I have never understood this language. We don't contribute anything. We are not so big. Our medium is bigger than us. a medium is always bigger than the artist. Bala Saraswati was a legend, but Bharatanatyam existed before her, during her time, and even now, it is there. So we don't really contribute. I mean, it's like, you put in a spoonful of water in the sea and go on bragging that you have raised the sea level. That is nonsense. Art gives us a lot. Art gives us a lot. I mean, it is an inexhaustible ocean, and you can draw from it according to your capacity, according to your esteem, according to your desire to learn something from it. And that way, art has made me a slightly better person, I guess. I mean, I'm not known as a very good person, and I'm not known for humility also. But in my humbleness, I must tell you that it's a very long process. And I approached art, I approached playwriting as fun, and then gradually I got into it, started taking it seriously. And I met very important people in my life like Girish and Vijaya Bai, Madal Babu. They did not groom me, but I learned from them. Because in theater, you either learn or perish. There are no gurus in theater. I did learn a lot. And although living has been my main job and vocation, art came next. And there was a point when those two things became one, totally one. So this kind of unity between what you are doing and what you are living is a very fortunate thing to happen to any artist. And I consider myself very fortunate and lucky to be one of them. I thank you very much for coming here, listening to me. I thank Tata Theatre Festival Live for considering me, for bestowing their most prestigious award on me. I will cherish this evening all my life. Thank you so much.
It's a tough job following these guys. They speak far more eloquently than I do. But yeah, thank you all. It's been quite an amazing 5 days, actually. Even I think some of you are aware that we've actually had an online festival that's going on. And apparently that's been something that we've tried this year. It's a fun thing because we were quite successful last year and the year before that with trying to build an audience that can engage with literature and conversation and topics. And already in 2 days in, we've already reached something like almost 1.5 million views, which is really quite lovely. And gratifying, and to all of us who are part of the committee and Mr. Bhatt and Jaya and all of us who work so hard, and Adrian, in making this festival happen. When things like this happen, when we're turning away people from lectures at Little Theatre and Godrej and we're having to close doors, it makes us feel that if there is something worth saying, people want to hear it. And may more things like this happen. And thank you for the love and thank you for everything. I think we've all decided we will be back next year. We're quite happy to see everyone and all our literature lovers and hug and book signings and all of that. And we're really happy to be back in the live space and back making literature live, if that makes any sense. But yeah, thank you all. There are a huge bunch of awards that we're coming out to, and I think Meher's the one who's going to then push me off the stage. The sign says, please wrap up. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for being here at Tata Literature Live 2022.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here at Tata Literature Live. And on behalf of the theatre group Bombay, we really want to thank Literature Live for the ongoing collaboration with the Sultan Padamsee Awards. The Sultan Padamsee Playwriting Awards was started in 1966 in memory of my father Alex's eldest brother, you guessed it, Sultan. And he was actually the founder of the theatre group Bombay, the first ever English theatre group in Bombay in the 1940s. So you can think about that. We at the theatre group firmly believe that if theatre in our country is to grow, Indian playwrights from all over the world must be encouraged. After a hiatus, we reintroduced the Sultan Padamsee Awards in 2014. And since then, we're very happy to say that 400 original full-length plays in English have been written and ready for production. All this has been ably managed by Aisha Sayani. So we hold these awards every 2 years, and submissions are judged anonymously, and there are 3 awards. This year, again, 4 plays have reached the finals. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Forger by Simon Bola Khan. The play is about Han van Meegeren, an ambitious and struggling Dutch artist who realizes his greatest skill is in forgeries and proceeds to sell millions of dollars of fake art. The next finalist is God's Will by V. Balakrishnan, which was inspired by an incident that occurred in the not-so-distant past. A daughter is raped on a bus in the presence of her mother and her brother. The bus runs on regardless, the travelers on it impervious to the crime. The third finalist is Star in the Sky by Vamsi Matta. Based on the life and death of Rohita Vemula, the play transcreates the story for a larger audience by bringing to the performance myth, meta-narratives, memories, and resistance, all of which constitute the lives and experience of Dalits. And finally, The Epicenter by Shoman Pal. In it, we discover that the seeds of the war had been sown long ago by Satyavati, an apparently minor character in the epic. It is her strategies, her ruthless way of achieving her goals, and her subsequent failure that paved the way to the world's greatest example of fratricide. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the Sultan Padamsee Playwriting Awards. The second runner-up this year is The Epicenter by Shoman Pal. Congratulations, Shoman. So glad you could be here with us. Do join us on stage. Shoman, we'd love you to say a few words.
Thank you, everybody. I thank the organizers extremely well. Basically, I write in Bengali. It's only one of my friends who suggested that I should start writing in English, and this has been my third play in English. Last year, I had sent my entries and it had shortlisted, but didn't come to make the cut. Finally, it had whatever it is. I hope that with this sort of effort and attempt to boost up new writers, I hope many of us like me would come up in near future. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the first runner-up of the Sultan Padamsee Playwriting Awards is Star in the Sky by Vamsi Matta. Congratulations, Vamsi. But unfortunately, Vamsi could not be with us here today. And now we have a joint winner for the Sultan Padamsee Playwriting Award 2022. God's Will by V. Balakrishnan and Forger by Simon Bola Khan. Neither Balakrishnan nor Simon could make it to Mumbai, but their certificates and award money will soon be on their way to them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and good night from all of us at the Theatre Group and the Sultan Padamsee Playwriting Award. Thank you.
Okay, I think they're making a habit out of this. But the winner is HarperCollins, and a wonderful habit. Thank you. So, then?
So the nominees are My Life in Full by Indra Nui, The Ambuja Story by Narottam Seksaria, and The Struggle and the Promise, Restoring India's Potential by Naushad Forbes. I'll let Paula announce the winner now.
It was a tough choice. We had very many good books, but the jury unanimously selected The Ambuja Story, How a Group of Ordinary Men Created an Extraordinary Company, Mr. Narottam Seksaria. The Ambuja Story is a compelling narrative of building of a world-class Indian company. An inspiring business biography written in first person with simplicity and honesty. The book leaves the reader engrossed with his extraordinary journey, along with many business learnings, nuanced life lessons, and an insight into the mind of an entrepreneur and a business leader. Mr. Seksaria, the author, comes across as an exceptionally candid storyteller who describes the grit, passion, and determination of a founder and how dreams to make it big can become a reality even if one is not equipped with all the resources at hand. He talks about the trials and tribulations of building a business, offering concise management lessons, in taking bold decisions, and also navigating through an era of pre-liberalization license Raj. A story well told with authenticity and humility, the book ticked all the black boxes for a great business book.
So the short list: Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh Khan, India's Lonely Young Women and the Search for Intimacy and Independence by Shrayana Bhattacharya. The Gorakhpur Hospital Tragedy, a doctor's memoir of a deadly medical crisis by Kafil Khan. Whole Numbers and Half Truths, What Data Can and Cannot Tell Us About Modern India by Rukmini S.
It gives me great pleasure to announce that the winner of the Tata Literature Live first book non-fiction is Whole Numbers and Half Truths by Rukmini S. We live in a world where we are, where we are always confronted with an onslaught of data, information, facts, figures, from the time we wake up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night and switch off our lights and hopefully our phones. Rukmini's book, Whole Numbers and Half Truths, provokes us to question sometimes polarized and often strong worldviews and narratives developed by all of us, either without looking at data or because of bad data. The book successfully unpackages several interesting, lesser known, and often uncomfortable truths about our country, around the reality of crime in India, on what India thinks, feels, and believes, how India votes, on how religion and caste influence how India lives, on who Indians have sex with, fall in love with, and marry, how India spends its money, how India is growing and aging. Rukmini questions if there is a possibility of finding a way out of the right-left binary to a more informed and hopefully a less polarized India. And she convincingly shares how inculcating the discipline of both looking for and understanding data and numbers as a precursor to democratic debate and discourse might be the path towards that. On behalf of the entire jury, congratulations, Rukmini, on a very interesting, thought-provoking, and a very, very relevant book. Thank you. On a separate note, I just want to congratulate the entire team at Tata Literature Live. This truly is one of the nicest times of the year in Bombay. And it's so wonderful to have the festival back in person once again. Thank you very much.
Tata Literature Live 2022 Awards First Book Fiction. The nominees are Kololo Hill by Neelam Shah, published by Pan Macmillan. The Immortal King Rao by Vohini Vora, published by HarperCollins. We Move by Gurnek Johal, published by Hachette. Gayatri, all yours.
And the winner of the Tata Literature Live 2022 Award for First Fiction Book Debut is We Move by Gurnek Johal.
Can we please invite somebody from Hachette Publishing to accept the award on the winner's behalf?
I have to say that this was an extraordinarily difficult assignment. I didn't know what I was signing up for when I said yes to the Tata Lit Live people. It was really an extraordinary selection of books this year that we read and had to choose from. We Move. In his debut novel, Gurnek Johal deploys a unique technique in which a string of short stories can stand alone and yet segue into one another. His stories are located in the lives of the British Punjabi residents of Southall, which he renders with exceptional talent and proficiency. His characters cover all ages, genders, personalities, moving from mothers and fathers and a parental generation to the younger generation of men and women, and recounting each voice with impressive authenticity. On a small but carefully detailed canvas, Johal paints a revealing and insightful picture of the complexities of the daily life and the blending yet distinctive nature of immigrant culture. This is a remarkable debut from a 23-year-old, displaying talent and accomplishment for a first publication. Thank you.
The Tata Literature Live 2022 Awards, Book of the Year, Fiction. Tell Me How to Be by Neil Patel, published by Penguin Random House. The Earth Spinner by Anuradha Roy, published by Hachette. And The Map and the Scissors by Amit Majmudar, published by HarperCollins.
And the winner is Map and Scissors by Ajit Bazumdar. Again, a very difficult decision to have been made. The Map and the Scissors combines meticulous research blended with evocative characterization. It is a book that pans across the wide sweep of history from the days of the Indian freedom struggle leading to independence and partition. Amit Mazumdar deploys his skills as a writer of fiction to emote what might be the personal thoughts and emotions of the key players of that time, bringing to vivid life Gandhiji and Jinnah at the forefront, Nehru, Sardar Patel, and others in the background, such as Jinnah's sister Fatima and Gandhiji's niece Manu. This is not a description of larger-than-life heroes. It is an insight into how human beings thrust into larger-than-life circumstances play out their roles. It is almost as if we are walking alongside these historical characters, witnessing their thinking, their emotions, their ambitions, their realism, their anguish. Scene and tone are impeccably painted in this gripping endeavor, and I might say in the 75th year of India's independence, a truly evocative book. This is a masterly description of the human impulses that end up making irrevocable history. Thank you.
Tata Literature Live 2022 Awards, Book of the Year Non-Fiction, and the nominees are Better to Have Gone, Love, Death, and the Quest for Utopia in Auroville by Akash Kapoor, published by Simon & Schuster. Lords of the Deccan, Southern India, from the Chalukyas to the Cholas, by Anirudh Kanisetti, published by Juggernaut. And finally, The Silent Coup, A History of India's Deep State, by Josie Joseph, published by Westland. Umal will announce the winner.
It's with great pleasure that I announce that the Book of the Year Non-Fiction at Tata Lit Live 2022 is Lords of the Deccan, Southern India, from the Chalukyas to the Cholas. On behalf of the jury this year, we deliberated over a very large number of books that were nominated in this category. And I'm truly delighted that Lords of the Deccan emerged on top of this very distinguished heap. Anirudh, it's hard to believe that this is your first book. Truly. It's harder to believe that you're not yet 30. And it's hardest of all to believe that you are an instrumentation engineer by training. My respect for all engineers has skyrocketed. Lords of the Deccan is that improbable thing, an absolutely unputdownable history book. Deeply researched, superbly crafted, and astonishingly well written. It shines a light on the history of southern India in the medieval age, a period and region in our history that isn't written about much, but that has shaped contemporary India. As important as the book is, I want to emphasize that it's an easy book to read. I fell into it right away. It traverses gory battlefields, palace intrigues, ambitious kings, strategic alliances, monumental projects, and squabbling royal families. It truly is an extraordinary book, and I urge you all to find it, buy it, read it, and spread the word about this book and its incredible author. Many, many congratulations once again.